What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here, Taco Moto Co, Baja Taco Tours. This is our 23 450 Xcf-W. We've talked about this bike before. We did a video not too long ago when it was still in its stock form, but here it is, partially modified. We're experimenting and sort of exploring what's possible with this machine as far as turning it into an omni-sport. So a bike that has adaptability and usability in all disciplines of moto. So that extends from motocross to dual sport, overlanding, rally, just anything that you would buy and use a dirt bike for, a half-liter class dirt bike. We're exploring what is possible, what the limits are, and really just trying to see if this is possibly the single most adaptable, usable bike across all those varieties. We're even looking at putting this in the Baja 1000 and doing a desert race series with it. So we are kind of mid-project in terms of what we'll end up doing with this thing overall. Right now in this trim, I think it's ideally set up for single track, light dual sporting, off-roading, trails, that's sort of the trim that we're in right now. And we have a few more things that we're going to do to optimize it for that, but I think we're probably about 95% of where we want to be so far. So I wanted to take a minute and just throw you a status report on it. Let's start here at the back. Tidy tail and then a plate. We'll get more into the dual sport conversion harness in a second. Remember, this is not a street legal bike, or at least it didn't come street legal, but it's been made so with lighting products, which we'll talk about in a second. So back here at the back tire, we're still running the Dunlop AT81. That's the stock tire. There's meat left on it. We threw a Moose in there. We're running the Moose balls. Incredible off-road performance, really epic traction in the dirt. So we're gonna burn that tire up and then go to something else. Polysport on the rear swing arm. We have a P3 mud flap that's carbon fiber, super ultra trick. These are the Evo Air, or the Extend Air rather, Fastway. The little foot thing here, this is basically as a heel stop. So when you hit like a square edge bump, you're on a situation where you might have your weight backwards and you could hyperflex your ankle. That will prevent that. P3 carbon on the frame guard, super slick. If you notice the graphics, these are full custom Taco Moto graphics, in-house produced, and we've got the little Polysport. This is to prevent your boot from rubbing on this section, which will shred that and tear that up and scratch it. Very slick graphics. We love these. On the fuel system here, inside the tank, we have the Taco Moto Co 3,000 hour fuel pump and then our 225 hour fuel filter. Can't see that, but that's inside there. Here's our Fuel 90 Golan for the inline fuel filter. That's the brass metal CPC quick disconnect, and then we've got our Sidewinder hose to make all that fit and function inside of there. Molecule on the skid plate. We have the Taco Moto Co. This is the Motherall oil filters. That's our magnetic filter product. We've got guys out there testing that reliably up to 60 hours on oil change intervals with a good Group 5 ester-based oil. I don't think there's anything else going on. Now, don't mention in the comments that we don't have a motor mount there. We took that off for something and forgot to put it back on. As far as the radiator braces go, these are the Emperor Racing single piece. That's one continuous radiator brace all the way across. In our opinion, this is single best radiator guard you can put on your bike, bar none, no exceptions. Up front line on the suspension. And then these are the Dingo Racing products. They're really durable and reliable upper protection fork guards. Front wheel, again, stock tires with Moose. We've got the Moose balls inside of there. Up here on the headlight, this is the Moto Minded / Ruby. That's a Ruby headlight in a Moto Minded bracket, fully adjustable. That's right now, that's in our opinion is the best single all-around light unit to use. There are other lights that are more specific for specific type uses and adaptable for very specific uses, but if you were looking for just one light, you didn't want to have 2 or 3 lights that you switched out for different applications, just one single light, that's in our opinion the best one going right now. I think that covers that side. Switching over here, We have the, so if you notice on this, the bike, even though this is a competition use only machine, we are building this as a Baja bike, and these machines do not come with any emissions controls, and they do have the same exhaust. We talked about this. They have the same exhaust system as the 450. I'm sorry, well, this is the 450, as the 500 501 Xcf-W, as well as the Xcf-FE and FES models, and they all have that O2 bung and the header, and they give you a really ugly bolt. We've swapped that out for our stainless steel machined, very trick looking, works looking bolt. We have the Taco Moto oil filler cap right there. That's the toolless cap. P3 again on the side covers, polysport on the guards, the graphics guards. Graves on the exhaust, that's our favorite slip-on. Underneath the seat we have Get ECU. We're finalizing the tunes for this model. This is a new model, and so we're just wrapping that up. We'll be releasing that tune here very shortly. Jumping up top to the bars here, let's focus on this. This is kind of an exciting thing. This is it's a bar mount system. It's a rubber system. There is no metal to metal contact anywhere between the bars and the bike. And this is made by Robert Ermosi. I hope I'm saying that right. He's got a pretty innovative system here. You might notice that this is very similar to what you get effectively with the Mako 360 system, which up until this point was our single favorite bar mounting system. And this is right there with it. It's hard right now at this level of testing that we've been doing to determine which one we like better. There are some advantages and disadvantages to each, but I think their performance so far has been fairly equal, and there's just a rubber donut here, the rubber isolation between the bars. You have this section clamps to the handlebar, this section clamps to the bike, and then they're rubber isolated with an insert, and you've just got a ton of bar flex, almost no engine and tire vibrations coming into the bars. We like to run OD Rogue grips, which are very squishy and have a nice standoff. So between that, the flex bar brass insert, which is a damping rod insert. So our premium setup, our favorite setup on bars, is some type of premium damping system. So that would be the Mako 360 or this, and we'll continue to test this and have more reports later on. But that one of those two, and then the OD Rogue grips, and then the fast inserts, the threaded damping inserts. That's it. That's our setup. And then with a Scott's stabilizer underneath. This one does not have application for that mount, and so we're going to be looking at adapting and creating an undermount that will allow you to mount a Scott stabilizer. So look for some of those new products coming soon. That's what's going on there. So why don't we talk about, well, let's do the dual sport kit last. So the mirrors here, these are the double take. This is the scrambler, the short arm, short bracket. That's cool. And then when you get into some serious situations, you can take that, fold it, and get it out of the way. The double take mirror is super trick. On the other side, another double take mirror. This is the little bug eye version, and it just has a little nice bracket that goes around, zip ties to the handlebars. Very cool. The right hand switch is a motor-mounted bomber. That combines the start and kill. You're trying to free up real estate a lot of times on these bikes, and that allows us to move those two functions to that side. Over here, this is the stock map switch, and 2 maps with traction control, and that's what you get on the off-road bikes. That probably, see, concepts, that probably covers it for, oh, maybe this here. These are the Canyon Dancer tie-down loops. These are great for throwing the bike in the truck, and then you don't have to wrap your straps over the handlebars, which you cannot do, you should not do. If you have any type of rubber damping system, so that would be the BRP, Mako, this system, anything where you have rubber isolation between the bars and the bike, if you, flex bars too, and if you strap your bars and yank on those, you're putting pressure and stress on that, which you do not want to do. So you need something other than that. You could go through, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can deal with that. You could put your straps here through the triple clamp. I think for us, it's just easiest to use these Canyon Dancers because now you've got a point that is not stressing the bars. And then we like to use the PC Racing there is a fork. It's just a standoff that goes in there, and then you don't compress your forks while you're transporting your bike. Jumping back up here, let's talk about this dual sport harness kit that we've got on this bike. So the functions happen mainly under the seat, so we're connected to the battery. Here is our harness. This is what's been installed, and I will explain more. I'm going to go over to the bench and talk just a tiny bit more about what it is, but you can see that all just tucks up in there. You can tie wrap that up and out of the way. This is where you basically program the SAE connector that's going to be up on the dash, but that all goes in there nice and neat. And up here on the bars, you have the left-hand master switch, so that's horn, turn signal, and 3 positions of headlight, including off on the headlight. The horn, we give you a really long harness, and you can mount your horn down here on the engine case, so you don't have to put it up behind the headlight mask or on the radiator. You can get it way down out of the way, and it won't pack up with mud or influence cooling at all. For turn signals on the front, we've got 2 sets. So down here we have the Taco Moto fork wrap signals, and then we are finalizing development of a stock. This is a rubber, it's a rubber foot, right? So it's flexible. This is in fact short. It seems long, and it always looks long to me, but in fact it's shorter than the stock signal. The stock signal sticks out another inch or more. And what I like about these and why we're using these is it has a daytime running light feature, and that's super important. All of our turn signals, we try to include a daytime running light feature. These have that. And then in turn signal mode, they sweep out. So the yellow does that cool LED transition thing where it starts here and ends here and goes solid yellow as it paths across. That's just kind of a slick little feature. We like that. So we're going to offer quite a few varieties of turn signals for that. And then up here, you have your low amperage output. This is a solderless, connectorless bus here for mainly GPS. So if you're going to have a GPS unit, any of the Garmin's, Voyager Pro, anything that you would want to power here to have that power availability behind the headlight, that's what you've got here. You can tuck that down out of the way. And then this is an SAE cord that you could go to heated grips or a heated vest or something that was more high current, and this pulls power directly off the battery. That's what's going on there. And then on the rear end, we've got the tidy tail. That's our tidy tail headlight, or tail light rather, and that's turn, brake, and run in one function, in one light, one unit. And then we have our under fender here. This is our own exclusive under fender, and we've got an orange one on there. So I think we've pretty much wrapped up everything on the bike. Just so good looking. The graphics turned out amazing. Get compliments everywhere this bike goes. And also you'll notice that it's glitter, so when the light catches it just right, it's sparkle laminate, which we love a lot. So let's jump over here and talk about the wire harness. So with this up here at the head end, we have our own 3D printed bracket. This mounts behind the Speedo. So let me add this though really quick. This is for any bike that has a existing headlight. So these are stock KTM bikes that come with an existing headlight on a push pull. So there's a little button that's been removed here on this bike, but it would live up here behind the headlight mask. It would be in this area right here, and that's, you would pull that up and down, push it up and down, and that would give you your headlight function. So right now we're just looking at this blue bracket, which you can see the 2 screws holding it in, and your bike would have a Speedo, and the Speedo is off on this bike right now because we were experimenting with just a different, we had some other headlights on there, and we're making some patterns for our own triple clamp, and so I've got the Speedo off, but the Speedo would be here. That little push-pull headlight switch would be there, and so this would mount behind the Speedo, and then you've got this flying lead, and that would plug into the 2 leads that went to your headlight, the old headlight switch, which would be removed. So this is the head end. This is sort of like the brain of the system, as it were. Let's start over here. This would be the push button switch. That's for your front brakes. And then you've got your relay. This is turn signal relay, LED turn signal relay. Headlight connector. This would go to your left-hand master switch. And we've got multiple versions of that. We've got our own Taco Moto Slim left-hand switch. This really gives you a lot of clearance for your clutch lever, and if you wanted to do aftermarket levers, this is almost a necessity for that. But these also work too. We have two versions of the Euro switch. These are European spec switches. That's version 1, and then here's a version 2. The one difference is these two allow you to turn the headlight to off position, and this one does not let you go to off. This only lets you go high and low. This is a current model on current European bikes. This is a previous generation European spec, and that's talked about that. We have a key option. This allows you to add key functionality if you wanted to this whole setup. If you grab that, so going back here, this is the SAE connector. This is back here behind the headlight mask. This is that other low current draw one that we talked about. Now, the power availability of this is selectable and programmable by taking this lead. This goes up to that SAE, and you can switch between, or you can select between either having constant hot, that would go direct to the battery, or engine on hot. And so depending on how you landed these together, how you jumpered these together, you would get those two options for your power. Here you have your turn signals. And as far as turn signal options, we're going to give you lots of different options. You can use the stock turn signal if you like, and here's those two side by side. Like I mentioned, you can see that the stock one is even longer than this, as long as you think that is. So that's the version that we talked about, the LED, stock incandescent. Here's the fork wrap signal, and we have two other turn signal types that we'll be offering as well. Headlights. So the headlight, we give you lots of options. Now, if you have the stock headlight mask, your bike will already have that. We have a Cyclops LED upgrade bulb option available. You could go with a complete mask, upgrade mask, and then bezel and light, like we talked about Ruby. That's what's on that bike there. Here's an ET8 dual. That's made by ET Racing out of Poland. That's a very cool light. And then you could go something super exotic like the Cyclops dual light setup. That's a light unit right there that we used recently in the 24 Hours of Glen Helen race. So you've got lots, and there's others that are just not shown here. Lots of headlight options. Horn, we talked about that. We give you a really long flying lead so you can run that horn. You can put it on the radiator, and then you would just bunch this up, all the extra cable. But if you wanted to, you could run it down to the engine, put it low. We covered that. We give you this is something cool, we give you an auxiliary grounding strap. This goes to the coil. So one of the weak areas of the 12 through 23 bikes has been that the grounding strap goes to the subframe, and that can cause issues. That's a well-known item. So we give you an auxiliary grounding strap so you can add extra grounding. Here's the rear brake pressure switch. That's at the rear brake master cylinder. This is what you connect into your tail light. So whether you use your stock tail light or one of the tidy tail lights, here's the light itself. We give you options to go with different under fenders. We looked at the orange one on the bike. We have black, white, and yellow for the Husky fitments. So we have different colors available, and these are the beefiest units that we've found. That's why we went with these. They have all kinds of ribbing and reinforcing. These are in some ways stronger, and some designs stronger than stock. There's no other aftermarket under fender out there that's as reliable and durable and strong as those are. And then you have the relay, which this relay is controlling that switched hot that we talked about, or engine on hot. That's controlled by that relay. It's fused, and then we have our battery terminal connector right there. So that is how we are dual sporting and have lighting here on this bike that originally did not have it. Now, these lighting products are not DOT approved. They may or may not be legal in your area. This is a closed course competition use only. Nothing comes with any other guarantee other than that claim, closed course competition use only. But in Baja, Mexico, this is completely sufficient for street use, and that's what this is exactly set up for. So if you have any questions about anything on this bike or anything that we've talked about, please let us know. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. go out, get some adventure.